All right, there we go. We're recording video. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. It's not going to be pretty, but
Okay, I'm ready. Hey, there you are. Yeah,
there
you're
we go.
looking. Yeah, you're looking good. You're looking good,
She got the
Angel.
flag in the back right there,
Oh yeah,
huh?
Puerto Rican. That's Puerto Rican flag.
No, no, Cuban, close.
Cuban. Okay, okay. Cuban flag. Okay.
They switched the colors on us. That's what it was.
Ah, gotcha, gotcha.
It's like Joe Biden and his sister and his wife. They switched them on us.
Oh,
Let me see. We have another about minute before we're live,
okay.
and like the format is anything you want to talk about. As always, we'll take the show where we got to
Oh,
go.
I definitely got some interesting stuff to talk about. So, okay.
Uncensored, you talk about whatever you want, brother. We're gonna I'll lead you
Okay.
in, and we'll go from there. And I'm gonna ask you, of course, just formalities up front, like how you been, you keeping healthy, that kind of stuff, and then we'll talk about the new stuff that you've got coming up, and what you've been working on, the usual great stuff,
Gotcha, gotcha.
and we'll go from there. Let's see, we have one last commercial, which is about 50 seconds, and then we'll be back live.
Okay,
So,
fantastic.
yeah, we usually come in at 11:05 around there after we're doing a little commercial. I love you were listening, but I was kind of going at the Kim Jong Un. I like to call him
Oh,
Kim Jong Un, na na na, but
did they?
you know.
Yeah. So what's happened with that guy anyway?
Well, reports are correct. He's in a
He's
vegetated state, and he's
he's
waiting.
dying. He's
Yeah,
dying. Yeah.
he's waiting for the Grim Reaper at this moment.
Wow. Wow. I
And
wonder who's going to take his place.
his sister,
Whoa. I
Kim
hope.
Young Yo.
Well, I hope she's nice.
No, she's supposed to be worse. That's the problem.
Oh no.
So we went from ill to un to yo. That's kind of like
Wow.
the way it looks. All
Wow.
right, we're coming back from break here. Just stay with me.
Okay, we'll do.
You get to actually see my face as I'm doing the recording now,
Angel, that's cool, man. That's
right?
cool. I feel like I'm in your room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no more typical background because I actually had to move and I had surgery on my leg in December. So this is actually my rented apartment with my dad.
Wow.
Until I get better and then I can move into my own apartment.
Huh.
So I'm here sharing an apartment with the old man. So
Oh, that's
it
cool.
yeah, it'll change once I'm healthy again. But here we go. We're going to go live in a couple seconds. Just sit back.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right, everybody, we're back live on psn-radio.com, and that's correct. You can listen to us very simply if you're not now, but you're somewhere like on TuneIn, which we love you if you are. But if you're, listening there, please come on over to the main website, psn-radio.com, and make that your listening source every single Sunday night here at 10 p.m. Eastern. With me now is the world-renowned one and only, our good friend and longtime contributor to the show and to the network, Mr. Paul Dale Roberts. Sir, thank you for being both on audio and video for the first time ever here on the show on video, and of course, many times on audio. We love having you on the network and on the show. You're one of my favorites, and it's been a decade now since I've known you and had the pleasure of speaking to you on the show. And happy to see that you're staying COVID free and looking healthy.
Oh, thank you, Angel. You're looking healthy too, and it's so nice seeing you. Man, like I was telling you before, I feel like I'm right in your bedroom back there.
It's amazing what we can do with technology, right? Today.
Yeah, yeah. I feel
You-
like just saying, "Can I sit on the corner of your bed there?"
it's right behind me, and I got my flag right on top. You can see it, right? It's
Oh yeah.
this is great. I mean, I don't have my old studio because of the fact that we're all stuck indoors at home, so we're all kind of making do with what we have, and just like yourself, I have to do the same. And I'm just kicking it in the apartment right now, away from my normal place where we do the this kind of stuff. But hey, I'm staying COVID free, and I'm glad that you're doing the same. How's everybody doing within the family? Because I know you have a large community behind you, and a lot of great folks like your wife and other folks that are, I hope are all doing well.
We're all trying to stay safe. We're actually still doing investigations, but we're doing that the social distancing and the whole works and washing our hands, you name it. So
How does that work when you're doing an investigation and you have to all kind of like be apart from each other, but you also have to communicate because that's part of doing the paranormal stuff is communication aspect, and to be able to get people to confirm audio, for example, that you're recording and some of these things. What have you guys done recently that you could report on with us?
well, like when we do, oh, well, and when we do our meetings, we do them outside so we can actually communicate and still keep our distance. So
I
we're
you all
being safe.
covering the mouths with the
Oh
masks.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And well, especially at my work, my real job, I got to wear the mask and the gloves and everything else. So yeah.
It's amazing. Michael Jackson used to have that all the time. The mask. Remember back in '05, '04. It feels like ages ago. But he was always pictured with masks. And everybody's like, "What a freak!" Now
Yeah.
everybody's got him in the United
Oh
States.
yeah.
We've all become the freaks.
Are you wearing a mask too sometimes?
Oh, and I'm a germaphobe to begin with, so I always kind of like found that to be like a hip thing to do. Cover your mouth and cough into the side, the elbows. I wash up, the
Oh,
hands.
okay.
And so when I go out now, it's like it's mandatory for the most part. They're not going to arrest you if you don't have it. But
Right.
most places do have signs that say here in Miami, they say, no mask, no entrance. Few places that are open. So I've kind of, used to wearing it. So it's not a big deal for me, and I wear it, all the time when I go out. One thing I do is I have mine in my car, so it gets that heat
Hmm.
when I'm not outside. So if I do have to go outside, that heat normally, kills the virus. We know that
Right, right,
it
right.
kills most of these viruses. So you leave it in the sun, and it gets that heat from the car. And I have black leather interior on my car, which is very nice, by the way.
Wow.
I have a very nice vehicle, and
Wow.
I luckily have a very nice interior, and that sun really I think kills anything that might be there. So it's kind of like having a new mask whenever I go out, and it works perfectly for me. And now I feel like I'm part of the trend.
Oh, Angel, and also too, what's good about this whole show right now is that we're social distancing. I'm in Sacramento, California. You're in Miami.
There you go. Couldn't be
Hey,
further apart, right?
yeah, yeah. If you sneeze, I ain't gonna get
No,
it.
it's a chew. You see that's how it works, folks.
Oh
Social
yeah,
distancing.
that's right.
I love the way technology has kind of brought the world together, even from far away places. But let's jump into what you guys have been working on because God bless you, and that now that
Yeah.
those sneeze or cough or whatever. Bless you anyway.
Oh,
Now,
oh,
what have you done for us lately in the paranormal? Tell us.
well, one thing is, I kind of want to just talk a little bit about Skinwalker Ranch. If you've been watching History Channel's Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, I also too did my own investigation at Skinwalker Ranch. And when I went there, that place is just so crazy and so unusual. And it just really blows me away that they got the History Channel over there. Oh, my neighbor's over there talking. Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah. But it's just so fascinating that they finally are being transparent. So anything they find at Skinwalker Ranch, we're going to be able to watch it. And when I was there, I saw actual ball lightning. It was a huge thunderstorm, and there was one more thing that was kind of unusual. We heard this loud, loud screech, and I had my recorder on, but the rain was pounding so hard. The only thing you can hear was the rain. You couldn't hear the screech. But it
Mm.
could have been anything. It could have been an owl or whatever. But that place is just so bizarre, and I really want to find out what's going on over there.
Every person that I've spoken to in the paranormal who's been to a Skinwalker Ranch always has an experience.
Oh yeah.
I mean, every single person, even the one that's kind of like skeptical
Hmm.
and are completely try to be the average debunker, as my good friend Stan Friedman, rest in peace, would say, those nasty debunkers. Even some of those folks that I've known over the years, and remember, I've been doing this for over a decade now. Whenever they go there just to do their own investigation, they come out saying, "No, there's something really happening here." And thank you for that, by the way. Uh, that's noisy. No, but it's doesn't shock me because ball lightning is one thing that a lot of people see in that area. Do you think it's something within the area, and maybe not paranormal? It might be happening with the area itself, or do you really think it's paranormal in nature?
Well, we weren't actually physically at Skinwalker Ranch, but we were in the Utah Basin Valley,
Okay,
which Skinwalker Ranch is at.
right,
And that whole place, you don't have to be at Skinwalker Ranch. The whole
right,
valley is mystical.
yeah,
And I think the ball lightning, yeah, sure, is something natural, but there's unusual circumstances happening at Skinwalker Ranch which causes something like ball lightning to actually happen. And it looked like it was something that just dropped from the sky. It rolled and just dissipated. It,
wow.
yeah, yeah. I've never seen that in my whole life. But
And I mean, we're talking about how many cases now you've done over the
oh
years.
God. I'm like way past 1,500. I could be like 2,000 or whatever. And last night, Angel, was crazy. Okay, we did an investigation in Orangevale,
Okay,
and the things that were happening at this house. And one of the reasons that happened, the uh, the mother, her son killed his sister's boyfriend at the doorstep.
oh,
Yeah, there was a murder at that house. And I did a little researching. I saw it on CBS News. It actually happened. The, uh, the sister, well, his sister's boyfriend was actually abusing her. They got into a heated argument at the doorstep. He pulled
wow.
out a shotgun and killed him.
Now I got a question for you before you go on with that story. And this is a legit question. When you were walking, towards the doorstep, or when you got near it, did you feel a cold spot or anything around that area? Because that's normally something people report on when there's ghost activity, especially in something that's like a resounding haunting, and it's something that's recurring. Normally, when they get to the area where the actual, main trauma happened, there's usually that continuous cold spot. Did you feel that, or you guys feel that?
Um, a lot of the investigators did. My
Hmm.
wife, being a psychic medium, she felt some dark energy there. And because the murder happened at that location, they've been tormented by all kinds of demonic forces and ghosts and you name it. And right at that doorstep, we got an EVP that was Class A, and it says, at the doorstep. At the doorstep. Well, I didn't even know that the murder happened at the doorstep when I got the EVP. And I was excited. I said, "This is a Class A EVP." When we played it back, it says at the doorstep. And then the mother looked at me and she goes, "Paul, that's where the murder happened at." So that
Wow.
was, yeah. Oh, and check this out. So we're in the patio, we're all talking, and this child's little uh, toy car, it moves on its own. It moved a good 5 feet on its own, and we all witnessed it. We didn't get it on camera, unfortunately, but we all witnessed it, and we're going, "What the heck?" So, and then we also too did an investigation in the attic, and in the attic we found a box that has some dirt in it, it has some rope around it, and it looked like it had bone fragments.
Mm.
So I blessed this box and I buried it, and I don't know what the bones could have been. I think it's some kind of animal bones from what I could see.
Are you gonna have it tested? Are you looking towards maybe doing that? See if it's animal or human?
Mm. Um, she just wanted to get rid of it on the spot,
Okay.
so I blessed it. One of my investigators dug this big hole in the backyard and they buried it. She didn't want to
Gotcha.
have anything more to deal with it. But looking at it, it definitely it didn't look human. It looked
Okay.
like, yeah, it looked like maybe a cat or something. So
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah.
Well, being somebody when I was younger, I buried a dog that passed away in my backyard. I could see where that's possible. Normally families would do that because not everybody wants to go in and pay for a pet cemetery.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
yeah.
why would you put it in the attic? Which that was kind of weird.
That's kind of creepy. Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Talk about skeletons in the attic
Yeah, yeah.
or skeletons in the closet, right? Like, literally, this person had two
Oh,
skeletons. Yeah.
oh my God. And then,
Now, the toy car, that's creepy in itself. I saw a video of a haunted doll on YouTube recently, which really kind of creeped me out. When you see things like that, uh, it wasn't just yourself. There was others around that saw it. Uh, most of the time, I know that you have the place pretty well covered. How much, I think, percentage-wise, do you think do you guys miss because you don't have the camera probably set up in the right area? Because I'm sure that happens a lot when it comes to these, paranormal events you guys go to.
oh yeah, Angel. To be honest, I think we probably would do a miss of maybe 30% of the house. Because we just can't cover everything. I
Right.
mean, yeah, and I'm just like the little toy car moving on its own. Yeah, we caught it with our eyes, but we didn't catch it with a camera. And nobody was fast enough with their camera to capture it. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
The reason I ask is for our listeners would ask that question. Why weren't they ready for it? Stuff when you're doing live recordings just happen, and
right.
you can't cover every inch of a house.
Well,
It's
even
crazy.
even like Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that they miss. They don't cover. I mean,
Yeah.
even when they have all the fine equipment, they got cameras set up everywhere, and they still miss stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I've worked with them. In fact, we've been working with them a lot lately. Um, we were the location scouts. Me and Deanna, my wife, we were the location scouts for Horror in Biggs that episode, and we received a special thanks for Nightmare in Antelope.
Hmm.
And we also, too, we were featured, well, we were interviewed on TV with Ghost Adventures on Crisis in Oakdale. So we've done, well, Deanna's actually did 5 things with Ghost Adventures, and I've done 3 things with Ghost Adventures now.
Wow. And that's in the last few years alone.
Yeah,
Imagine
yeah.
you've been at this for quite a long time.
And now they're not filming at all, and we got
Yeah.
all kinds of good cases. Like, basically what I've become now is the go-to person for Ghost Adventures for Northern California. So
Mm.
anytime I have a hot case, I tell them. And Harlem Biggs, I don't know if you watched that episode, but
Hmm.
that one was really weird because they supposedly a demon chased the neighbor down the road, and she fell into a ditch, went into a seizure, and died in the ditch.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
when I wrote my article, as you know, every investigation I do, if I did 1,500 investigations, I have 1,500 articles out there.
Mm.
So I'm always constantly writing. I put out books and everything else. But when I wrote the article, I mentioned the demon chasing this woman, one of their neighbors down the street, and then they actually interviewed some of the people who knew the neighbor, and they said they saw some kind of shadowy type being chasing her, and she fell in a ditch and died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of reports of the, for example, orbs are ghostly activity, or do you think that's UFO alien related? Because I think there might be more ghostly activity, and that's why some of these areas are so like impacted with orbs and lights. What do you think?
Well, Angel, what I try to do is I try to show. Okay, let's say I'm filming and I keep on seeing this one orb. So, what I try to do is prove that it has intelligent movement. So, I'll place my hand up against the wall. I'll tell someone, hey, take a picture of my hand. If you're listening to me, appear by my hand. And the orb sometimes will appear by my hand, showing some kind of intelligent movement, which I can deem as paranormal. And okay, here was a good example of an orb being paranormal. We were at an investigation, and this guy, the ghost was named Emily, and
Okay.
the guy was saying, "Hey, I feel really drained." Well, Emily was known to drain the energy of the occupants. And I said, "Wow, maybe Emily is draining your energy." So you had to sit down. And I said, "Okay, Emily, if you're listening to me, kiss him on the lips." So, yeah, yeah. So, three of us are taking pictures, and voila, there's an orb on his lips.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then we go, "Emily, if you're listening to me, sit on his lap." We take a picture. The orb is now hovering over his lap. So, something like that, Angel, I can deem as paranormal.
Right.
Because, yeah, because orbs can be almost anything, bugs, dust, all kinds of stuff.
Well,
Uh,
the fact that they're listening to the name and is reacting to the request,
right,
that tells you this intelligence paying attention to what's going on, whether it's otherworldly or ghostly.
right.
Now, the reason I brought that question up is because the person, for example, they got, uh, that died in the ditch. How long would it take normally if there's an orb, related to these things? Would it take for that person to maybe start haunting that area, and for you to go back and maybe do an update and see if there's any orb activity there?
Um, Ghost Adventures actually, okay, after our investigation, they investigated the whole town. The whole town of Biggs, California, and that's not very big. And yeah, it's
It's
not
for
very
the
big.
first names, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And they got all kinds of activity throughout the whole town. The whole town is haunted.
Oh wow.
So, yeah. So, I mean, if we did a follow up, the only thing we're going to find, there's activity all over the place. I
Mhm.
mean, and like the occupants that they investigated, the guy kept on saying he had an attachment. So, what they did is they brought in this priest and his assistant, and they did an exorcism. And the other episode, Nightmare in Antelope, same thing. They brought in the same priest, his assistant, and they did an exorcism. Oh, and also too, Angel. I don't know if I told you before, but when people have attachments, I do full submersion baptisms on them.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, because it's a basic form of exorcism. And when you do a full submersion baptism, the attachment will immediately leave. And I've been very successful with that. When I first started out, I said, well, I don't know if this is going to work or not. But as I've been doing it, I would say I'm about 80% successful in doing it.
And when we talk about doing an exorcism, the name of Jesus comes up, and of course, that's part of the ritual, to get whatever demonic or evil spirit might be in the area. Which doing the UFO stuff, I find it ironic, Paul, that when some people are having the abduction phenomenon happen to them, they evoke the name of Jesus, and the beings, some of them, leave immediately. and that's been reported by a lot of abductees who are being taken by, like, for example, the Greys, the quote unquote Greys. Um, do you think there might be any correlation to that at all? I mean, it almost seems like an exorcism works on both, on both ends.
Angel, I think the whole paranormal realm, it all coexists. It's all together. Ghosts are
I
somehow
agree.
connected
Yeah.
to aliens. Aliens are connected to cryptids. You name it. The whole thing connects one way or another. I mean, even like when people see Bigfoot, and then a few minutes later, they're seeing a UFO. There's a
Hmm.
connection with Bigfoot to UFOs, everything, and even like some abductees who've been taken on UFO craft, the aliens tell them that you're nothing but a vessel. They know about the soul, and the
Right.
soul is the ghost. So if you see it after a person's dead, that soul is a ghost.
Mm.
So yeah, the whole thing's connected.
I completely agree with that. In fact, I was having a conversation not too long ago about what the soul represents, and I kind of came to uh, I guess an epiphany,
Hmm.
or, realization of maybe, or a theory. Uh, and my theory is that the ghost realm, or what we would consider, our ghostly selves, are our real selves, and what we see here in this world is kind of like a simulation of a video game.
Right, right. Yeah, like a Matrix.
Or like The Sims, the Sims,
Hmm.
the game where you're playing a real life
Hmm.
on a video game.
Oh
That's
yeah.
kind of, we're like living in a real world Sims, and that's why people see ghostly activity as the body dies. A lot of people report that they see a mist come out of the body,
Hmm.
or you have reports of body weight dropping at the moment of death.
And it's funny that you mention that because some Russian scientists, they
Hmm.
took people who were terminally ill, and on the instance of death, Kirlian photography was able to show some type of mist manifesting from the forehead and
Yep.
going out. And
Hmm.
that's the soul right there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it doesn't shock me that that turns out to be the case, because what are we built on? Mostly
Hmm.
water and energy, right?
Right, right, right.
And we know one thing about energy: it doesn't just disappear; it goes somewhere.
Hmm. Hmm.
Where,
Energy's forever.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that makes complete sense. The question, of course, it always is, Robert, Paul. Sorry, Robert's my brother.
Oh, no.
Uh,
Oh yeah, no,
y-
that's okay.
you're my brother from the other mother. No, but Paul, that's a great question that that always comes to mind is, if this is the case, you know, how long does it take for a soul to go to the other side? Because a lot of reports are of ghost activity of things that might be trapped here on Earth still, and might not have crossed over. Do you find that the crossing over is not automatic?
Well,
In your investigation.
from what I've seen, Angel, what I think is you have the choice to go into the light. And what happens is, okay, so let's say I die
Right.
and my soul leaves the body. And there's like this little doorway or light or whatever. And it's up to me if I want to go into the light. If not,
Hmm.
what I what I believe and what I've seen and what I've studied and everything else, that they have what I call ghost police, okay, or maybe they're angels, I don't know. It says, okay, if you're not ready to go into the light, here's an energy grid around this house. You're stuck in the house. So this ghost, because a lot of people wonder, they go, well, why is that one ghost stuck in this house? It's not going nowhere. The only way that ghost can go from point A to point B is if you take something that belongs to that ghost and I bring it back to my house. Now it can go from their house to my house because I took an object that they were attached to, the energy forces around that object. So I think from what I gather in some of the EVPs that I've captured, it seems like they're stuck in an energy grid and they can't leave unless you take something that belongs to them and take it back to your house or whatever. And
Hmm.
some ghosts that have been seen all over the world, like Hitler, when he died, they said that saw his ghost all over the place. Well, it's because things that belonged to him were scattered throughout the world. So Hitler could travel as a ghost to different places because those objects are all over the place.
So his attachment was to
Right.
the objects, in other words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's some. Um,
Well,
uh,
there's also reports. Remember that he didn't really die, and he moved to
oh,
South
right.
America,
Yeah.
and there were, of course, a lot of people that were stand-ins for Hitler and that were complete lookalikes during the Nazi war that escaped uh, and moved really far away, but looked just like him, just like every leader has stand-ins for certain things where they don't want to be present. Alec Baldwin could be a great stand-in for President Trump. You can never tell them apart these days, right?
Right.
Especially on Saturday Night Live. Uh, but
Yeah.
back then, they had it also. Obama had his lookalikes. George Bush, Reagan, all presidents, world leaders normally have a look-alike for certain things. And Hitler was notorious for a lot of things, but
Right.
he had a lot of, people that, did certain rallies, certain events, where it wasn't even him. So there's that to keep in mind also. I do think that we killed the bastard, and that whole thing went as legit as possible because he was just too evil to be kept alive. So the fact that there may be ghostly activity surrounding his objects is very, very plausible and possible. And I do think that there's definitely an attachment to it. I've seen that happen for myself, where there's attachments to certain objects. So I do believe that.
Right, right. There was this one case where this lady, she went and bought a grandfather's clock from an antique store. Her house was never haunted. She brings the grandfather clock into her home, and all of a sudden, all kinds of chaos starts happening. Cabinets start opening. She hears footsteps. She's being touched. She's having all kinds of paranormal activity
Hmm.
because of that grandfather's clock has that energy. So as soon as she got rid of the grandfather's clock, brought it back to the antique shop, got her money back, the paranormal activity stopped. So that's where I'm saying if you take something that belongs to the ghost, something that has their energy on it, that ghost can now follow you back home.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy how that works. It's crazy how reality works, isn't it? The
Right,
world
right,
works.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you think about it, you ask, well, why is that? Well, I mean, we know very little about the spectrum of reality and what is behind the veil of what makes everything work. That's one of the things which I don't think science will ever be really able to answer. Now, of course, with investigators like yourself and people that do these paranormal research, how close do you think you are to uncovering some of these mysteries where we could, finally have some answers?
Well, okay, here's the mystery. Okay. And I think it's sort of solved. Um, as I do quick and dirty EVPs, I say something into the digital recorder. I'll say, is there anyone here? I pause, give it time to talk, and it responds. So, one of the mysteries that I feel like I solved is one time I was saying in this one house, why don't you go into the light? I paused, gave it time to talk, and it says, I will be judged. And I go, holy cow. So he didn't go into the light because he felt like he was going to be judged.
Mm,
Judge and go to heaven or go to hell.
right.
So, so, and so a lot of times, like when we go to haunted places, is either like one situation, it was a grandmother who died in the house. When she died, I believe that she saw her grandbaby being born. She didn't want to go into the light because she had unfinished business and she wanted to watch over the baby and be an angel to that baby.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that something else that you see a lot in your research where folks have that happen to them? They attach to a newborn or to a member of the family to be a
Mm.
guiding angel or a guiding light or force behind their lives.
Right, right, right. So, and I call those Casper hauntings because
Uh,
I go, hey, what's going on? And you gotta, it's not a demon, it's not aliens, it's not a doppelganger. I said, well, so what's going on? My grandmother died, and I feel she's in the house. I just want you to confirm that she's here. I go, okay,
mm.
yeah, we'll do that. And so they're not afraid of this ghost because it's grandma. And sure enough, we'll get an EVP and they'll go, oh my God, that's my grandma's voice. So grandma's still around. She can't leave the house because there's this energy grid around the house and not till she goes into the light. So, yeah.
You know, I lost my mother in 2016, Paul, and it's one of those things that's always, since it happened, it's been a very weird subject to bring up on the show, and I usually stay away from talking about it. But I've had it in several experiences after her passing, where I haven't really gone on record too much talking about it. And a lot has to do with smells that she usually had on her. That every once in a while, just it comes back, and I smell it in the air. And the one that really creeps me out the most is the smell that we had at the funeral when we were all at her funeral. There was a smell around the casket or on the body, which you would have when a person passes away. There's usually a smell to them, and it's weird, but I've had that reoccur every once in a while when I feel that I'm being watched. It happened in my old house. It's happened here recently a couple times in the apartment, where it's almost like I feel it first, and then the smell comes in, and it could
Wow.
be a perfume that she used to wear, or the smell at the funeral home, which I smell very often. And I never got that here before because this is my father's apartment, and you never had those kind of smells. He's been here well over a decade now. And after the passing, now that's become a thing where it happens every so often. So, I even think my mother stuck around kind of to keep an eye on things. And the reason I also say that is because right after her passing, we had a hurricane named after her, ironically enough, Irma.
Hmm.
And while everybody was scared, for their lives, I just hit me. I was like, "You're gonna be okay." I mean, no way that a hurricane named as your mother's name
Wow. Right, right,
is
right.
gonna hurt you
Mm.
uh, during the same year and a couple of months after she passes. That's not going to happen. So I had this complete ease of mind, and I had friends who lived, maybe a few blocks or a mile down the road from where I was, and they were all worried about, oh, it's going to destroy the area. You got to be careful. And I told them, don't worry about it. I have this, feeling and almost like a voice that told me that nothing's going to happen. Relax. You're not gonna hurt. You're not gonna get hurt. And in fact, I had friends, Paul, which went out of their way to leave the area, and later called me saying, "Bro, we were stuck in our roof for hours before we can get down because with the water level and the storm just completely shut down, and we couldn't even get out of the apartment. And they were stuck, and I was at home like nothing happened. I'd lost power for about a couple hours, and that's it. Nothing major happened. It was like my area was completely taken care of, and outside like a certain grid of the area, they were having issues. But my house, my neighborhood, nothing. It was like,
Wow.
yeah,
That's an amazing story.
yeah. No, there's been a couple of things like that. 2 weeks after she passed, there was an electrical fire in my old studio room in the house.
Hmm.
And I don't think I shared this with you before.
No.
I had left for work that morning. When I got back, I opened the door and immediately smelled smoke in the house. And I'm thinking, oh, we have a fire. And it was misty and the house was very cloudy. I ran towards where the source of the smoke was coming out of was my computer room, where it was my studio. And I'm looking around thinking, oh my God, the place is going to be on fire. What am I going to do? I don't have anything to combat the fire with. I don't have an extinguisher or anything in the house. Not very smart. Should
Hmm.
have one. But I went in totally blind and opened the door, expecting the worst because
Hmm.
when you smell that kind of heavy smoke, you always expect the worst. And I'll show you photos later on, and you'll freak out about this. One of the power outlets completely blew up, melted. There's an area around the outlet where it's completely darkened by the actual shard of the melted, plastic and metal and all that, everything that exploded. The actual TV, which is plugged in, and a couple other things were plugged into the outlet, were not melted. Amazingly enough, it's like it popped and like did nothing happened to them. But the initial outlet melted, and there's ashes all over it. So there was a fire that caught. Okay, and where it happened, there was a big screen TV, all kinds of wires. It was right next to my main computer desk, and so if it would have caught fire, would have got my computer, my TVs. Not only that, Paul, there's posters on the wall. There's a whole section right behind the where this exploded, where I had a line of action figures and posters. Literally,
Wow.
literally 5 inches away from the fire exploded. And now you're going to tell me that that is not a crazy coincidence that the entire house didn't burn down?
Exactly. That's weird. I mean, that's just like a tornado sweeping the place, and it leaves the church alone. But
Yeah.
all the other areas are all devastated and just gone. That's
It,
crazy.
I had a fire rescue come out just in case so they could check the house and make sure everything is safe and it's nothing electrical or something crazy, And everybody who saw the thing on the floor, 'cause I left it there for a couple of days just to make sure that it was okay. And the pictures I took and everybody who I shown it to has all everybody's told me the same thing. Your house should have burned down. That's
Uh,
we've seen a lot less start and burn an entire house. And in fact, one fireman told me that he saw something like that burn an entire neighborhood down because it
wow.
blew up, and not only did the house go down, there were attached houses, and one burned the next one, and it burned the next one, the next one. So the entire block was burned down that he saw, and they were fighting that fire for hours, trying to get it, and control it. And he said, I saw that, and we blamed it on something electrical like what we see in your room, and nothing. Your room is spotless outside of the little circled area. It's an amazing picture. It was, to me, confirmation that something else is protecting not only the house but
Oh
my
yeah,
sleep.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. An
yeah,
angel, an angel.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I really believe that we do all have angels because, like, there's been times where I've been in some dire circumstances, and I said, whoever loves me up there, whatever angel is watching over me, please help me. And it seems like I'm being helped. It's like something is actually helping me, and it blows me away. I mean, like I said, I've been in some dire situations, so.
Now, when are you going to come down to my neck of the woods here in Miami? Because there's a very haunted area that I would love to take you to. And I know right now we're all stuck indoors,
Oh yeah.
with this thing, but I would love to have you come down here because there's one place in particular where I lived in, and they were talking about the '80s when we got here from California, where it's without question there's a haunting going on in this home, and I would love for you to take your paranormal group out there and take a good look at this place.
Yeah. Angel, it's so funny because my wife used to live in Miami.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Why
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah,
come
yeah,
down here?
yeah. And here's the funny thing. Okay, I know you love Miami. She didn't like it. She didn't like. She didn't like Miami. Okay, but anyway, that's another story. And then I've been. The only place in Florida I've been to is at Disney World, and my sister lives in Port Orange.
Hmm.
Yeah, Florida. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it's a little further up than where I'm at now. Right now, I'm in the Homestead area.
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Angel, I gotta tell you something. Okay, now with this COVID-19 coronavirus thing, people shelter in place and all this sort of stuff. One of my HPI investigators in X1, okay, there was a situation where I actually had to let her go, but her name was Trey Lindstrom.
Okay.
And I was shocked because some of my former HPI investigators told me that this shelter in place thing gave her a nervous breakdown and she slit her wrist, slit her throat, committed suicide.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is really affecting a lot of people. I mean, in different ways. Not only, like people who catch it, the physical part of it,
Hmm.
but the mental part of it.
Yep.
And I was
Yeah.
totally shocked. Yeah.
I'm not. I've read reports on people committing suicide because they're just fed up being stuck at home. I've been stuck at home since December because I'm nursing a surgery,
Mm.
which takes about 4 to 8 months to heal.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I went from having an open wound the size of a baseball to now it's about the size of a marble.
Hmm.
Uh, but if you see the pictures, they're not good. They're very gruesome. And I've been nursing that, so I've been kind of stuck at home doing my own self quarantine for the last few months. So I've been like, well, welcome to my world.
Wow.
I've been doing it, and it
Yeah.
shocks me how people are
Yeah.
reacting to this. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like Trey Lindstrom, she had a great personality. She was hecka funny. I had to let her go for some other reasons, but it's like, yeah, I was totally shocked. I mean, so being sheltered in place drives you so crazy you want to commit suicide. That not only that, she had two young boys and she has a husband. So it just it blows me away.
That's terrible. That's
Yeah, yeah,
terrible. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Condolences to her family. I mean,
Oh yes, yes.
suicide is never a way out. And you're
Yeah.
speaking to somebody who, at one point, was suicidal, and it's not easy to get that out of your mind. And I've went through that trauma a few years ago when I lost my mother. And what kept me going is my family, my father, my close family. The thought that if I did something to myself, they're there, and now they have to suffer with their trauma, and I'm just putting a burden on them, and that kind of kept me going. And it's funny because when I think about it now, I'm like, but suicide is not the way to go. Period. No matter what,
No, no,
it's never the way to go. And
no.
even I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones because I was able to overcome that mentally. But there's so many people that really just can't make that next, hurdle and not put the gun to their head, not blow their own brains out, and over something that, if you do the right things, like, for example, we're going through now with this virus outbreak, if you just, take the time and find other things to keep you entertained, time flies.
Hmm.
Whether it's doing a podcast online, doing videos for social media, keep yourself entertained. Watch the news. I know that it's economically it's not easy to face something like this when you're losing your job. You don't know where your next meal's going to come from. So it's not easy. But that's why we have the government trying to do these stimulus packages and do a lot of these things. Which, by the way, I haven't got my check yet. I'm
Oh
very
yeah.
angry about that. No check, no direct deposit yet. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah.
Uh, but at the end of the day, even if they don't give me, any handout, I'm not going to commit suicide over it. And
No, no.
that's never the answer. But again, my condolences to the family. They're the ones that suffer
Right,
the most during
right.
things like that. We only have a couple more minutes to go on the show here. As you know, always, you're fantastic to have on the air. And I
Oh,
would
thank
love
you,
to have
Angel.
you. I'd love to have you come down to Miami so we could do something remotely here on the house. There's a lot of stuff down here. I know the wife doesn't like the area, but I'm telling you,
Yeah.
when it comes to the paranormal stuff, there's some stuff I can show her that'll make her love at least investigating and researching, this one location. Because for a fact, I mean, I live there. You know me, I'm skeptical to a lot of things, but when I see things for myself happen, I mean, that is a dead thing as far as the question if it's real or not. I know for a fact there's something going on spooky there, and you're one of the few guys in the field that I trust will honestly report what he sees just from
Right.
knowing you for as long as I've known you. So hopefully we do get you down here in sunny South Florida one of these crazy days in the future.
Hey,
Uh,
every time I think about Miami, I think of Miami Vice.
yes,
Yeah, that music.
that's what we're known for. That and a lot of hookers and blow from the '80s.
And check this out. Remember Tubbs? Remember Tubbs?
Yes,
Okay, yeah. Tubbs' brother used to live over here in Sacramento, where I live at.
correct. Yeah.
He he was the Oak Park rapist.
Wow, you kidding me?
No, no. And Tubbs would go to prison to visit his brother. He was the Oak Park rapist here in Sacramento.
No kidding.
Yeah, while Tubbs over there doing his Miami thing, Miami Vice, I got his brother over here doing what he was doing.
Wow, and was that ever reported? Because I don't remember. I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't catch on into the mainstream media, I don't think.
It's well, you can like Google it. It's there. Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that. Well, it doesn't shock me that it's connected to Miami somehow, because that's how we do down here. Which, by the way, it's shocking. We haven't had a murder committed in the last what was it, 7 weeks, I think, in Miami. Yeah,
Wow.
which is the first time in like I don't know, like how many decades, like 50 years, something like that. We haven't had a murder in weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a record. That tells you when that's a record. That's scary to live in
And
this city like this.
with this shelter in place, you don't hear about active shooters. I mean,
Correct.
you had the one over in Canada, but
But
you
that's
just
Canada. Yeah,
yeah, that's Canada. Yeah,
Full of guns.
yeah,
Remember they got gun control.
yeah,
That
exactly. Yeah,
that
right.
that works
Yeah,
beautifully for
yeah,
criminals.
yeah,
Which that's another thing. I love when people are like, "Oh, we need more gun control. Guns are killing people."
yeah.
Right, because criminals obey the law.
Hmm. Exactly.
That's how that works. Well, if you're a criminal, you're saying, "Oh, well, man, they just passed another bill. How am I going to rob the liquor store if I can't buy a gun legally?"
Absolutely. Huh? Oh, that's so funny.
That's what keeps criminals up at night, I guess. That kind of gun control lunacy.
Oh,
Paul, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. And
thank
stay
you.
safe. You're
Yeah,
looking
you
good.
too.
Stay safe, stay healthy, and say hi to the missus and say hi to the family. I send a lot of love to all of them, and
Yeah,
it's
thank
always good
you.
to hear your voice and hear everybody's doing good.
Yeah, sending love to you, Angel, and to your family. Stay safe, stay healthy. You look great. So,
Thank
yeah,
you. Well,
yes.
I've slimmed down a lot since we first met. Believe it,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
100 pounds lighter than I used to be right now. So
Oh, that's good, Angel.
it's
Dang.
it's not Corona related. It's
Oh,
a broke dude related for a little bit there, and that started off a good diet that's been working ever since. So
fantastic. Yeah.
hopefully it keeps going down like the Titanic. My friend, till next time. Again,
Okay.
love you. You're a great guy.
Thank
Take
you
care.
very much, Angel. You too. All right.
Peace.
Peace.